Hey everybody, welcome back to Conscientious Omnivore. My name is Pal. Today I've got kind of a interesting video hopefully for you guys. It's a little bit about me and it's kind of in um, honor of the fact that today is the anniversary of me moving to Hungary, and which is also kind of weirdly enough or synchronously enough coincides with the date that I originally moved to the US with my parents back when I was a kid. So yeah, like I'm gonna share some details about my life that I think a lot of people have been asking about in the comments, kind of like how am I living in Hungary but I have an American accent, or as I like to call it, the CNN accent, which is the Connecticut accent. And so anywho, yeah, I hope this is of interest to you. Basically, this video is partially inspired by, like I said, the date, and also by Tina at Pink Dragon Fruit Travels. She's a channel here on YouTube. I'm going to put her link in the description, so check her out. She's got some cool videos. She does a lot of travel, logging kind of videos, and yeah, really interesting stuff. So check her out and let her know I sent you. And anyway, so let's get into it. This video is going to be what's called like an expat tag. So she had a video posted on her site, and that's kind of what got me to want to do this. So I'm going to answer 10 questions about kind of expat life and what that means, and give you my own take on it, which is probably a little bit different than the typical expat. So anyway, here go the questions. First one is, where are you from? Where did you grow up? So this one for me is different than most people, I think, because I didn't grow up where I was originally from. So basically, I'm ethnic Hungarian, but I was born in Romania. And for anybody who doesn't know, after World War II, Hungary lost quite a bit of its land, and the territories were partitioned off to various countries surrounding it. So I was born in what is present-day Romania, and my parents basically emigrated to the U.S. in 1984 when I was a little kid, and I pretty much grew up in the U.S. So yeah, that's that. And next question is, what countries have you moved to? So yeah, I've spent the majority of my life in the U.S., but obviously I've lived in Romania as a kid, and then after college, I worked for a number of years in the U.S. and I moved to Boston, and then I moved to Hungary 8 years ago now. So yeah, let's see. Those are the countries I've moved. I've obviously visited more, but that's where I've moved to. What made you leave your home country? So here, this question is again, when I was a little kid, it was really my parents' decision. So those were hard times back in like the early 80s. There were some really, really bad situations in Romania. Most of the Eastern Bloc countries behind the Iron Curtain, they had some pretty bad economic situations, and there was a lot of food shortages and all sorts of crazy stuff, and there was a lot of ethnic tension as well, which was kind of orchestrated by the government to keep people under control. So yeah, so that's why we moved originally. Now I'm going to answer the second part, is like, why did I decide to move from the U.S. even after pretty much I grew up there and lived most of my life there. That is really just kind of one of these things where it grew over time. It wasn't like a spur of the moment decision. My sister had actually moved to Hungary well before I did, and I had been visiting a lot more often, and I always kind of felt like this, something was missing kind of feeling living in the U.S. And so yeah, I guess I came to kind of see if I could find what I was missing, and I think I did. Now it says, next question is, what did you miss most? What do you miss most about your home country? This is an interesting one because I really kind of believe that home is where the heart is, and I know that sounds cliche maybe to some, but I really, really believe that. So I've always felt at home wherever I've been. I never, didn't feel at home in the U.S. And I'm sure when I was living in Romania, I felt at home too. And since as an adult, having gone to visit, I always felt great there too, and I still do now whenever I do go visit. Um, it's more just yeah, I guess, like, do I miss being home? Well, not really, because I feel at home here. So yeah, I guess I don't really miss any like thing, but I really miss my friends. So I miss people, and I miss those people wherever they are in the world. So I do have lots of friends still in the U.S. And some family too, obviously, and I miss those people that I grew close to. So that's what I miss. How often do you visit home? Um, I actually haven't visited the US in a number of years. It's been like going on 4 years now. So this summer is going to be 4 years, which is a long time. Time's really flying by, but I think a lot of that has to do with just having small kids. It makes it really difficult to travel. So that's kind of it. What's the best thing about living abroad? Well, for me, I'm going to answer this like from the perspective of leaving the U.S. For me, definitely the work-life balance and kind of like the personal life that you have outside of the U.S. I think tends to be a lot more family-centric and family-oriented, and allows for more time to spend doing your creative pursuits or hobbies and stuff like that. So when I was working in the U.S., I definitely had less vacation days. I had less, public holidays and things like that. So just less time off. I definitely worked more hours per week. That's not to say I don't occasionally, work overtime or whatever, but I don't feel the pressure to just be kind of like constantly on and working at my job the way I did when I was working in the U.S. So I guess that's the thing that I like the best. What's the worst thing about living abroad? Um, yeah, this is kind of an interesting one. I don't really know. I guess it's just different. I wouldn't call it worse. Um, Lots of people ask me here in Hungary, they find it kind of incredible that I would have left the U.S. to come here because like there's definitely not as much economic development. So more people are, I would say, like poor or earning like just enough to get by, and the standard of living by the kind of like Western standards is lower. But in my mind, it's really a better quality of life because like I have more time off and I'm still comfortable and I still have enough disposable income that like my wife and I we can travel and kind of do things. Like I said, it's more just been difficult because of like having small children, and we don't want to like be crazy with bringing them around. But we intend to kind of resume our travels and stuff as they get older now. So yeah, I guess yeah, the worst thing. I don't know if that's really a worst thing, but I just think it's different. Like somebody, might ask like, is it better or worse? And yeah, my sister had a good answer to this. I'll use her answer. It's that it's it's like you have to decide like what do you want, a big house and a big car and fancy stuff. Then go live in the U.S. because you can definitely earn more money and get those things. But if you want like more time and um, you know being able to basically do your hobbies, then yeah, it's a good place to live. What food do I miss the most? I don't really miss any foods. I've been cooking for a long time, so when I moved out of my parents' house, I pretty much started cooking right away, almost like maybe like a half a year in, because I just realized that if I'm eating out constantly, I'm going to be poor and I'm going to be in really poor health. I put on tons of weight, and yeah, I just started cooking like crazy and learning how to do everything myself. And I've been doing that since. And so I don't really miss anything. If I miss it, I just make it. So that's that. Next question. Are there any countries that you would like to live in? Yeah, I definitely would like to live in some other countries as well. Um, I think definitely as like a home base, I consider Hungary now to be my home, but I would certainly go and live in some other countries. I think Spain would be really interesting to go live in. I've always kind of been fascinated by the Spanish language, and I studied Spanish in high school, but I barely can remember, how to say hello, and I can ask for beer and the check, and that's about it. But so yeah, maybe like Spain. I would also probably want to go and live in like Switzerland for a while, just to see kind of all the mountains and be able to do climbing there and all sorts of stuff like that. So I'd say like other European countries for sure. I would probably want to go to South America and visit various countries there as well, and see the amazing mountains in like Patagonia and other places like that. And yeah, I guess those are some places that I would definitely want to go and live. I would want to go visit many other places too, but those those are the countries I would want to live in for a while. Okay, next question. Do you think you will ever move home for good? Well, I think the answer to this is like I have moved home for good in the sense that I feel home here. Will I ever move back to the US? I definitely can't see that happening. I just, I could see myself going back to visit the US for long periods of time, maybe like a month at a time or even longer. I'd love to maybe do something like bike across the US. I had that as an original goal before I moved from the US, but it didn't come together. So maybe someday something like that. But yeah, I think this is home. So anyway, those are all the questions. I hope you enjoyed that, and I had fun kind of like thinking about the answers to these and sharing it with you. So if you did enjoy it, give it a big thumbs up, and see you in the next one. Thanks for everybody subscribing. I'm up to 80 people now, which is really awesome. I can't believe it. Like it's so cool. Like people are digging the message. I hope you guys are having fun. And yeah, see you in the next one. Thanks. Bye.